Most people know Barbara Corcoran as an entrepreneur, an author, investor, and on the Emmy award-winning show Shark Tank. However, on a personal side of her life, Barbara and her family cared for their mother Florence after she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Here with more on her personal story and how it can hopefully help you or somebody you know going through this is my friend Barbara Corcoran. So great to see you again.
Very nice to hear from you again and talk to you.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you so much for sharing this very personal story. You did not have to do this. It's very personal. I'm curious to know, like, what are some of the common symptoms of agitation in Alzheimer's dementia?
It's vastly different than dementia, which most people say is an amount of forgetfulness, repetitiveness, and asking the same questions, losing your keys, forgetting to turn off the stove, that kind of thing, which is what my mother had when she was first diagnosed with Alzheimer's dementia. However, the symptoms, I guess, changed very radically after about 2 years when she developed agitation in Alzheimer's dementia. What she was doing then is she was crying, she was irritable all the time, she was restless, she couldn't settle down, she was always wandering around, we were wondering where she was shouting, and she really turned into a personality that we did not recognize. None of the seeds of that were in her original personality. And yet the whole time that we were trying to coach her, well, not coach her, care for her really, all the time we were thinking that it's just a continuation of Alzheimer's. But I have since learned that about 50% of the people who have Alzheimer's also are living and showing signs of agitation and Alzheimer's dementia. And I didn't know that, and I would hope that I would make that awareness much more broad.
Yeah, I'll be honest, until I was reading the information sent to me, I didn't know about that agitation
Yeah.
and what to look for. So you must have learned a lot from caring for your mother. What all did you learn through the process?
I learned that, first of all, the condition was a separate but related condition. That knowing that would have made a real difference if I had done something about it. But I've learned a couple of important lessons caring for my mother. As much as I didn't want to, I learned how to be patient. That didn't come naturally to me. I'm a very goal-oriented person. I see a goal, I see the horizon, I go for it, and I think nothing's going to stop me. But caring for my mother, there was no hope. I didn't see the horizon where I saw sunshine would eventually shine. She might get a little bit better. I saw none of that. So staying the course of caring for her for the 7 years we did, I had the help of my 9 siblings. Thank God I had them. We were all in the same boat. So we had that caring, but still it was showing up all the time for something that wasn't going to get better. I think for us as a family, what we learned together was how to better care for my mother by getting in her space, by not expecting her to maybe be corrected like we always corrected. Mom, I told you. Mom, I this. Mom, I that. Like a certain kind of aggravation. We didn't realize then that people with Alzheimer's have the same emotion they have if they were healthy. And it hurts their feelings to be felt of as stupid, that where they saw things differently than you were always correcting them. We started instead to walk over their side of the line, so to speak. We would never again say, I told you so. We eliminated it from our vocabulary. We told it as though we were telling it for the first time. We never again told her my father had died 3 years ago, because by telling her she had to mourn the death of my father all over again, we learned to just lie, I guess, and say, Daddy's downstairs in the car warming it up. Now maybe that sounds silly, but it made all the difference. We never again told her there was no snake under your bed, Mom. Look, there's no snake under your bed. Instead, we killed the snake for her, and then she was able to go to sleep okay. We just learned to really think how she might be seeing things and to agree with her and play along with her. And as a result, what we got for that, and I would recommend it for anyone, is we got more peaceable time with her. We got to travel that crazy road she was going down and enjoy the same things that she was experiencing and say, really, Mom, really? Okay. So we got a much better relationship going for the last maybe 5 years of her life. But again, my regret is that I didn't report the changes to her doctor. I just didn't think of it. Just thought it was dementia, but the changes were vastly different.
So speaking of, I'm just curious, if somebody's going through this, I'm looking back at my own life. I had a family member who, what you're describing, she had
Yes.
Alzheimer's. What you're describing is exactly what she was going through, and she was not diagnosed with the agitation. So I'm looking back now on my life going, what could we have done differently? If somebody's seeing this, what should they do? Do they contact their doctor immediately? Things that can help?
They have to contact the doctor immediately. Now, I'm not a medical person, so I can't give you the solution there, but they have solutions. But I think what you could do as an individual going through someone with Alzheimer's and caring for them is you could decide you're not going to go it alone. You're going to collect as much information as you can. And there's a website called recognizealzheimersagitation.com, and it's chock full of information that would be so helpful to the caregiver. I wish I had it then, because if I had it then, I would have learned so much about it and been better equipped to deal with it. But I think people really have to reach out and educate themselves, and it doesn't take much time and makes such a difference.
It really does. And seriously, thank you again for sharing your story, because you've
My
helped
pleasure.
me realize something in my own life that I didn't know until this very moment. So I'm going to call my family afterwards and say, these are things we should have looked for, what we can do differently in the future. And what's the website one more time if somebody wants more information?
It's called recognizealzheimersagitation.com. And thank you for asking it. It's a lot of words.
No, thank you. And thank you for your story. And we hope it helps a lot of people. Thank you so much,
Thank you very
Barbara.
much.
It's so good to speak with you.
Thank you very much.